To connect speakers to your Sonos amp, right here, to those banana connector, you will need this kind of cable. And to tell you everything about this cable, I will pass an extract from that video. And if you already seen that video, we can skip straight to that time. So let's start this extract just right now and see you just after to tell you how to connect the speakers to that cable. And let's talk about this cable. Personally, I always use this kind of cable. It's a speaker cable that can be used inside walls because there is a certain resistance to fire, but it also do the job just fine if you need to pass the wire from your Sonos amp behind your TV stand to your speakers. I will leave you a link in the description if you need to order this kind of cable to do your installation. As you can see in my cable, there is 4 wires. It's a 14-4 cable. 14 is the size of the thread and 4 is the amount of wire. About the 14, the smaller the number is, the thicker is the thread. And the bigger the cable is, the better the sound quality will be. In my experience, 14 is plenty enough for any speaker you will connect on a Sonos amp. So, how does it work? You will need a small plier like this one to cut the jacket of the wire. Personally, I like this kind of model because it's easy to use, it works to any size of wire, and moreover, it's cheap. If you don't have this kind of plier at home, there is nothing that stops you from trying to use scissors or knife, but you will soon realize that this kind of cable is kinda tough. So I'll left you a link in the description if you want to order a plier like this one. So first you have to gently cut the jacket without forcing too much to be sure not to cut the jacket of the other wires inside. If it does that, it's not good. It might create a short eventually. So do it slightly and keep yourself a certain distance in length so you can work with the wire after. So you can do only a small incision and then bend the wire multiple times until the jacket breaks apart. Then you can cut the rope. This one is made to cut the jacket more if necessary. Then you will have to delicately strip the end of each wires. It really doesn't have to be long. It should be just long enough to fit into the connector, but not too long for it to stick out. If it's too long and they eventually touch each other, this will create a short. I also invite you to twist the end of each wires to prevent them from ending up scattered in all directions. If you have a single pair of wire, red and black, that's fine. Put red in red and black in black, and make sure you do the same with the speaker. The color is indicated only on one side of the connector and on the back of the Sonos amp. If you have a cable like mine, there isn't really an official rules as to which color to use. The only thing that is important is that the negative and the positive are plugged in the same place for the amp and the speaker. Red is positive and black is negative. My personal standards is to use red as positive and black as negative for the left speaker. So in this case, red and red and black. And for the right speaker, I use white as positive and green as negative. So in this case, white in red and green in black. Don't get confused in this case with the white circle. It can be confusing, but it's only there to illustrate the black inside. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to illustrate a black circle on a black piece. If you want to do a real professional job, you can even write on the jacket where it's going. On the Sonos connector, all you have to do is to unscrew the connector, insert the stripped wire, then tighten. Very, very hard. It's very solid. Then, all you have to do is push the banana connector into the amp. Yes, it's called a banana connector. I like connecting the wire from the bottom. This way, I think it's make a cleaner job once the amp is in place. And now, let's move on to the speaker connection. And be aware, I'm not an electrician. I have only installed hundreds of speakers in my life for an electronics store. I do not vouch if you blow anything. I only want to help you to make your connection. If in doubt, I invite you to read the official Sonos amp connection article with the link in the description. Let's go with the first example, probably the most common one. You just have a pair of speakers to connect. Note that I have indicated 6 or 8 ohms, but it could also be 4 ohms. This is because the Sonos amp is made to connect speakers with an impedance of 4, 6, or 8 ohms, and that's what we can read on Sonos website. You should find this measurement on your speaker. The ohm symbol is indicated by the omega sign. Most of the speakers are 8 ohms, but you can find some speakers that goes up to 2 ohms. If you have a 2 ohm speaker, you will need a more powerful amplifier. But I won't go into those details today. You probably have a 8 ohm speaker. Again, look on your speaker. It's written somewhere. The Sonos amp have 2 amplifiers, one for the left channel and one for the right channel. So if you want to connect a simple pair of speakers, look on your speakers, you will find 2 plugs, one being negative and the other one positive. Negative is represented by black and positive is represented by red. So simply connect the red wire between the red connector of your Sonos amp to the red connector of your speaker. Then connect the black wire with the black connector of the Sonos amp and your speaker. Note that on the amp, you have a left channel and a right channel identified by left and right. Make sure you connect them to the correct speaker if left and right makes a difference in the room you're in. And that's it. For the following examples, I will only explain with the left channel because you simply have to do the very same thing with the right channel. So if now you have to connect more than one speaker to your Sonos amp, there is different ways to do it. For the first example, we will make the connection in parallel. So if you have 2 speakers, and be careful, I have indicated 8 ohm speakers. Don't do it with 6 or 4 ohm speakers. It will be too much for your Sonos amp and you might blow it up. Or probably just make it fall into protection mode. So the first way to connect it in parallel would be to connect the first speaker like in the very first example. And then connect the second speaker into the first one. The reason why I said it was important to have 8 ohm speakers is that by making this connection this way, the impedance of the 2 speakers is now 4 ohms, which is the limit of the Sonos amp. With 2 speakers at 6 ohm, the impedance would be 3 ohms, which could damage the Sonos amp. This also means that with this type of connection, you could not connect third speakers in parallel. The impedance would then be 2.6 ohm. On the other hand, Sonos says on its website that the Sonos amp can connect up to 3 speakers with this type of connection if they are the famous Sonos Sonance in-ceiling speakers that they sell on their very own website. I will add a link to those speakers in the description if you want to order some. Another way to make the same parallel connection, again with 2 speakers, would be to plug each speakers directly into the Sonos amp. And be careful, we are always limited to 2 8 ohm speakers unless it's 3 Sonos Sonance speakers. And finally, if you want to connect even more speakers, there is always the series method. This consists of plugging the positive of the Sonos amp into the positive of the first speaker. Then connect the negative of the first speaker to the positive of the second. Then connect the negative of the second into the positive of the third. And so on until the last speaker, to which you must connect the negative into the negative of the Sonos amp. Technically, you can connect a lot of speakers this way, but the volume will be reduced with each new speaker you plugged in. If you want to have more precise control over multiple speakers, you can also add a box that gives you volume control on each zone. Well, this will not give you as much freedom of the Sonos app with multiple amps and won't surely play as well, but if you're interested, I'll leave you a link in the description if you want to order one. But of course, if the budget is not a problem, if you have many speakers to connect, the best way will be to have mini Sonos amp. So there you have it. We've seen about all the ways you can connect your speakers to the Sonos amp. So this is it. Thank you for watching. I hope it helps. If yes, please give me a thumbs up. If you want to see my other Sonos tutorial, visit my link in the description or just right here. I have a lot of video on the subject. Also, feel free to leave me a comment down below. Maybe you'll give me an idea for the next video. If you're shopping for a new Sonos device, please see my link in the description. And you should also see my video how to choose the right Sonos device for you just right here. Finally, don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you can find me back easily next time you need help. Take care, and I hope to see you again, maybe on my main channel. See ya!